Welcome to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. I'm Laura Simmons. I have with me Margaret Simmons.
Margaret Green.
Oh, Margaret Green again. I'm sorry, Margaret Green. I don't know what.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Oh, look who's here! Hey, boo! Can you hear us? Can you hear
What's with
us?
the
I
hat?
hear you. I hear you.
What's up with the hat? You cool today? You
Baby, you do not want to know.
Don't take that thing off.
Uh, you get shut down off the air.
welcome,
Be
welcome,
like
welcome
Buckley,
everyone
sister,
to
probably.
Inspirational Talks. Welcome to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. I have with me today Margaret Green,
Hello, how you doing?
Ursula D. Allen,
What's up? What's up?
and of course y'all know me, Laura Simmons. And we have Mike Handz in the building today. And a matter of fact, we're gonna get on to our guest today, y'all, and then we'll kick the breeze after our guest.
I had to be thugged out, y'all.
Hey, how are you today, Mike Hands, right? Am I
Yeah,
right? Am I saying it right? Okay.
I'm okay.
So
How are you guys?
good,
Yeah.
good, good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, I'm a husband, father, grandfather. I work in the mental health space as a service provider during the day. I'm a consumer of services myself, which is why I work in the field, having my own journeys behind me to get where I'm at. I'm a recording artist. I've been a clothing designer for 25 years. I walked away from the industry itself 22 years ago. Now I do independent stuff on my own, time. Um, caregiver for my family. I right now taking care of my grandmother. She had a stroke in December, so kind of spearheading that movement and just trying to keep one foot in front of the other, trying not to trip.
Oh,
Amen.
Yeah.
well,
Yes, definitely. Staying focused.
wow,
So
that's cool.
what kind of clothes I know you said you were used to make clothes. What kind of clothes did you make?
Well, in the urban space, I designed for Sean John, Cross Color, Call Kanai, Azori, Mecca.
Oh
I
wow.
worked at Azore, Indigo Blue, PNB Nation. I was the head designer at Pepsi. I worked on the staff
Mm.
at Coca-Cola. I was one of the developing designers at Hershey's brand apparel and
Oh,
stuff,
wow.
Green Global. I currently own Sneakerhead NYC, and I'm an equity partner in New York State of Mind Clothing Company.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Your
You're
Wow,
right.
you've been
resume is
busy.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I've
you're
been in.
so humble.
Oh, I appreciate it. I started doing fashion. My mom was a designer, and that's how I got exposed to it. Most, kids in the urban space that have pictures with like footballs and basketballs and things of that nature. I had a picture with fabric and scissors, helping my mom drape at school. And I ended up going to Fashion Industries High School here in New York. And from there, did FIT for a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean a real little bit. Um, I did a couple of certificate courses there because I had been attending classes since the end of my 10th grade year because a lot of the teachers at my school moonlit as professors at FIT. So
Hmm.
what the entry level fashion students were doing at FIT, we've been doing since the ninth grade with the same
Mm.
teacher.
Wow.
So, the first 2 years of FIT was kind of remedial for us in the fashion design space. So what happened was I came home for break and got an intern designer space at Sean John. So I didn't go back. And I stayed on 7th Avenue for the next 18 years after that.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. How long was you with Sean John?
I did everything. See, the thing about fashion is a revolving door. Once you do about a good season or two, truthfully, they're always looking for new talent. Just like I was a model
Right.
years before that, and your face gets old quick, right? So it's like once every brand has kind of worked with you, they're looking for the fresh new face. With
Hmm.
design, it's the same thing. And as a designer, you get tired quickly. So working with the same logos, the same brands, the same thing, it's
Yeah.
like,
Getting burnt
you
out.
know, it's not even so much burnout, but you've done everything with the art you can, creatively.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can go somewhere and be inspired by fresh art, and then you start running down another direction. And it's a very cutthroat business. So when you go to Vegas for like the Magic Convention or any of the big fashion conventions we do, you go and all of the other brands are kind of headhunting for designers while you're there. So once they find out that you work at one of the bigger brands, then the smaller brands are after you, or the mid-tier brands are after you, because you add cachet to their brand. So to say they have the designer from here or the designer from there. So you end up designing home. You're like an in-house designer for one, but freelancing for three. And you move around a lot. So that's kind of what happens. So about a year and a half, and then I moved on.
Oh, wow.
Wow. You've done such a lot in so many different industries.
Well, I'm also a recording artist. So yeah, I've been doing that parallel the whole time. But that, of course, didn't have a dollar tag attached to it. That's kind of like a crime of passion, so to speak, right? Like you're just putting blood, sweat, and tears into that for a long-term turnaround. But that's not going to keep the lights on and people clothes, things of that nature. Even though I was young and, ambitious like everyone else. So though I knew better, I still felt like, that I can do it different, So, my kids definitely sacrificed the early part of this dream with me. So by the time I got it together, I realized to kind of prioritize some things a little different. And maybe I'm not different than everybody else. I still got to go through the process. So I ended up relying on my trade, which was fashion.
Okay. So how did you get your name, Mike Handz?
Okay, well, it's been a journey. So, what they say, God ain't done with me yet, right? So the work in progress of it all. At one point, I was in the street, hustling and moving around and running with street folk, doing street things. And my hands came from fighting, actually. So it was hand skills is what it was short for. But when I adapted it to the music, a friend of mine, he had a name which was Private Penjamin, which I thought was phenomenal. Like that's just an incredible play on words.
That is dope.
Then he had another AKA, which was Justin, last name Credible. So Justin Credible. I thought that was phenomenal. So I'm like,
that's cool.
I'm like, I need one of those. So he was like, how about Michael Handler? And I'm like, what? So he's like, Mike Hand, microphone handler. That's what you do, right? So I'm like, okay, I can work with that. And he said, Mike Handz for short. I'm like, so now I still don't have to abandon Handz, which everybody knew me as, and I can put the microphone and then redirect and rebrand. Yeah, I can run with that. So I've been there since I was about 22 years old.
Oh,
So you said though that they knew you for them hands in the streets, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of where it came from. Then a more motherly, acceptable version was the fact that because I did so much, people said I had my hands in everything. So that's the version my mother got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that works.
Clearly, she put two and two together originally. I mean, eventually, but that worked for bringing it home.
Oh, okay.
That's funny.
So I was reading about that you had you was diagnosed with kidney disease or something.
Yes. Okay. So in 2008, I was diagnosed with kidney disease, CKD, chronic kidney disease. I wasn't strange to it. My dad was diagnosed in 1982 and passed in 1992. So I kind of had walked the journey before. And I remember days where my dad could drive himself to dialysis, but he needed help getting home. So I would get on the train and drive him in the car home. The only concern was I was only 14. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
But he had to get home, right? We had to get him home. So my mom didn't drive. So I was the only other option, having to admittingly say that I can. So, so I'm not strange to the process. However, when it happened to me, I was strange to this point in technology with the process, right? So I knew the very analog version from when my dad went through it. So of course I had the most horrific version because that part clearly didn't work out, right? So in 2017, my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer and passed in September of 17. I kind of shifted my focus to trying to help save my mom and took my eye off my own ball.
Mhm.
And my situation accelerated from stage 4 to stage 5. And in kidney disease, you only have 5 stages before what's called end stage renal disease.
Mhm.
And that's when your kidneys, pretty much revolt on you. They
Mhm.
stop participating. So that June, I started dialysis. And I was on dialysis for a couple years until I lucked out and the missus was healthy enough to donate. She wasn't my match, but she was able to trade her kidney for me. So she donated her kidney, traded it to someone else so that someone that was a match for me could get a kidney to me. And that was in August 2020. And this August 26, 2022 will make 2 years since the transplant.
Praise God.
Wow.
Wow.
Praise
That's a
God.
blessing.
That's it's
Yeah.
nobody else.
Oh
I didn't know
yeah.
you
God
could
is
trade
good.
the organ.
Well, see, I kind of so my transplant team pre-op didn't understand to what magnitude of, I guess, of an entertainer I was, because I'm not 50 Cent. I'm not, I'm not if you know, I'm that artist, right? But I'm not
Mhm.
the household name in everyone's household. So I guess they didn't realize that, listen, I'm gonna have my publicist and the label put a PSA out to try and find this organ. And once they did that, they said that it was pretty much the biggest in reach that they'd ever had for any
Wow.
one person trying to with potential donors trying to call, offering to donate the kidney. There were people calling from overseas trying to figure out if I am a match, can I be flown in, or which I, sponsored a fund to say, if anyone anywhere on the planet needs to get here to do this, we will fly you in. That's when I was made aware that there was a swap program in play.
Oh.
Like, officially, this is a thing, but it's underutilized because it's underexposed. People don't know.
Right.
So, of course, for me, my platform then became, anytime I get a platform, became focused on becoming an advocate for the concept that, listen, this thing exists. Do not think your first option is your only option. Do not give up because this individual is healthy enough, especially if the person willing to donate is healthy enough to donate. But the thing stopping you is the fact they're not a match. No, there's the swap program. It puts you on a whole entire different list. So if you're in your city on your state list, transplant list, there's the National Kidney Registry, which is the secondary list that go through the swap program. They put you on their list. So now technically they're in debt to you. They owe you a kidney at that point.
Wow.
It's your donor donate. So she went and did her surgery on July 30th, 20. 45 minutes later, her kidney was in the person down the hall. And that person was sick. And August 24th, I got the phone call to come in for the 26th to do mine.
Oh wow.
So the person who was donating for you, and since her match wasn't a match to you, she was willing to swap it for someone else so when someone was a match for you, they would be available to come directly to you and you didn't have to wait.
Absolutely. And what she said was, no disrespect to your friends, but they're taking a little long. And I'm not raising these kids by myself. So she opted to do that. You know what I mean?
Good.
We had grandchildren away. So, they were born while I was still waiting. So we're not doing that. She just
Can I ask you a question right quick? Can I put a pin and right in the discussion? 1 minute. How did you feel knowing that all these people, like you say, worldwide, from far and near, which is, because God was all up in there. How did you feel just to know that outpouring of love was just for you? How did you feel?
All right, so we'll take it back. September 1st, 19, hip hop as a culture did a fundraiser for me. And to see that turnout and outpour of not only the people that came out to support and donate by paying the door or whatever it was, but the celebrities or hip hop notables that gave of their time to create the show and perform, that was humbling in itself. Now, as far as the outpour, I had inklings only because certain people that were in contact with me through social media, whatever, would hit me and say, "Hey, I called," or "Hey, I tried to donate," or "I went and got tested." However, the beauty of the transplant facilities, especially at NYU, salute NYU, where I went and who handled me, they really, and as an advocate, I know how important this is. They manage expectations because the mental health concern part of this journey is even more grueling than the physical.
Right.
And to get someone's hopes up, knowing they're facing death and the ball dropping or disappointment, too much of that is going to really impede the process mentally and emotionally. So they manage expectations. So they do not tell you when people call. They do not tell you who's called. They do not tell you that. However, the team I had with John, Salute, they were so like, listen, we not saying what we not saying, but what we gonna say is we ain't never seen this before. And then after the fact, once I got the kidney and they came to congratulate me at the hospital, and of course I had to do my follow-ups after, immediately after the surgery. 1 week after, I had to be back in the clinic. They said, yeah, we had never seen anything like this before. So that was humbling completely, because in music, you put stuff in the ether, you don't know who receives it. You just put it out there, and you hope it connects, and only the fraction of individuals that make contact allow you to know who you connected with. But even to this day, last night I was on an interview, and someone, I walk into this interview expecting to know no one. It's a call with multiple hundreds and hundreds of DJs on this call. And for me to get introduced how you guys did with me tonight, and then I can't even speak because everyone else is kind of chiming in, not only to greet me, but to let me know either they've been playing the record or to tell me their connection to the record and why they're playing it, because they're naming records from 2 years ago, and I thought this was part 2 of that record, which I didn't think that record would have been mentioned at all tonight. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Humbly hoping that I could introduce what I'm doing now to you, not knowing that you had a connection and a historical attachment to my brand and my journey, because you don't know who's listening or if anyone is. So that's why you be so happy with yourself and good with and comfortable with what you've done and put into the world, and satisfaction with your own outcomes and your own contributions to your effort to say, you know what, if anyone loves it, blessing. If not, I'm happy with it.
Amen.
How I approach everything, because you don't know until you know.
Right. Yeah. Your story may bless somebody else. Like for me today, today is a very touchy day for me, because as of today, I've lost my sister, been gone 3 days as of today. Today is the anniversary of her passing.
I'm sorry.
So it's like a really touchy. And when you start talking about the Reno and stuff, I knew exactly what you were talking about, because that's what she went through. She went through the same exact thing. Yeah.
Again, it's such a personal subject for me, because again, I said that's how I lost my dad. So it's very, very personal to me. And my heart definitely goes out to you and your family. Just, I never compare crosses, but connectivity. I lost my brother on the 1st of April. So you know, that sibling loss is a whole different type of vibe. I've lost both
It
parents,
is.
and that hit different than losing him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You
know.
think about this the person you grew up with, you played with, your first friend, and you know,
Mhm.
the the first person you had your first fight with and everything else. And it's like, wow,
Mhm.
that's, you would
My,
never get to see that person again. You
my
know?
mama was actually my first friend. He was funny. He was older than me. He had stuff I
Mhm.
ain't have. I couldn't rock with him like that. But once I caught on, he's the one that knew everything everyone else didn't. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like he
Yeah.
knew, like every behind whipping I got, he got, because 9 times out of 10 I talked him into it, or he talked me into it. And even when it was not that way, one of us would get an extra behind whipping because one of us
Yeah.
know better. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Oh,
Mhm.
you can't have that with no one else. So
no, you can't.
Mhm.
Oh
That's
yeah, I
true.
remember those butt whoopings.
Yeah, definitely. Because the first thing
Yeah.
they say, you know better.
that's right.
Everybody in the house getting a whooping.
And we
Like
had
Oprah giving away cars.
you get and listen, it was like, and they had a rule here where you can't save yourself. So you
Right.
if you if the curfew is 9 o'clock, if y'all both ain't at the door at 9 o'clock, ain't nobody at the door at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Yeah.
Wow.
Get your behind for being at the door without him. You know what I
So
mean?
you start crying before you can get in the house because he wasn't at the door.
And then he mad at you because you the one that made y'all late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he trying to save himself. So like, listen, you know we gotta be home at 9. I'm gonna be home at 9. Nah, that's not how it works. Not
Mm-mm.
both
There's
hands.
always gonna be one that's gonna try him.
He used to be so mad at me because it's always me making us late.
Uh-huh. Hey,
Hey,
Frederick.
Frederick.
Hey, Frederick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Wow.
that
Yeah,
street light
I
come
remember them
on. You better
days.
get your butt in that house. Street
That
light.
light start blinking. You better be hitting it.
Those
Yeah,
were the
Mhm.
days, though. Yeah, those were the days.
my father passed from renal failure as well.
Oh,
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, back in
Hmm.
2003.
Mhm.
Seemed
Yeah.
like just yesterday though.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling today when I was wondering why I felt so drained today. And I looked at this calendar. I said, "Oh, dang. That's why I feel the way I feel today. I wasn't feeling myself today. I was feeling some kind of way today. And it just felt like all my energy was gone. And that was the reason why. And I looked at the calendar. I said, "Oh, dang, today is the day my sister passed."
this
Right.
is
But
one of those fraternities you don't want to invite anybody to, but once we're in it, we're in it. And that's be
Yeah.
it you directly or someone that supported someone in this position.
Hmm.
mhm. Yeah, so I was reading about you got a single out called Keep Going.
Hmm.
So what is that about?
So keep going. Actually, the video opens up with me sitting in the dialysis chair
Hmm.
at my treatments, and it was when I first. It was the first day that they were switching me to actual needles and
Okay.
taking me off of the catheter in my chest,
Hmm.
which they put in there when you initially start doing it, so that you don't have
Right.
on the maturation of the access in your arm. And
Hmm.
I was kind of I documented the whole thing for whatever reason. Not sure what made me start doing it, but I'm glad I did in hindsight.
Hmm.
And yeah, I do know why. So why I did it was I didn't want to be ashamed of what I was going through. And
Right.
Yes.
I knew that if I put it out there, I can't hide from it. Right. And I
Right.
knew that it was going to be harder to try to deal with it, carry it, and hide it. So at least if I wasn't hiding it, I could take that off my plate of things to do, and things to try
Hmm.
to be aware of and not slip and not say or not expose or not let on. Or so I just didn't want to have to deal with it. So I put it out there. Now, this day just so happened to be the day, like I said, I moved forward in the process and they were going to start using my arm for the first time.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of days because I did a lot of writing on the machine. I had a lot of days where I never thought about death. I never thought about quitting. That wasn't really an option. I never thought about not walking this earth if I could help it. That wasn't an option, especially by my own hand. That and to give up would be by my own hand, if you ask me. So I wasn't there for that. However, I had no clue how I was supposed to do this again the day after tomorrow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Especially when I have a bad treatment and they
Yeah.
pull too much fluid and I start to
Yeah.
cramp on the machine, or the needle comes loose and I bleed out on the machine, or just the different variables of what could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And with the headaches that come if they pull too much fluid, and there's nothing you can do until you hydrate,
Yeah.
and counterproductive because the machine just pulled the excess fluid off of you.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting here putting majority of it back to try to relieve the cramp or the headache. So it's almost like it cleaned the blood, but it's doing nothing for the weight,
Yeah.
which then can flood my organs or cause, me to, it's so many versions. And I just like how what I do when I have a limp or something that normally keeps us black men from going to the hospital, I ask myself, how am I supposed to do this till 80? Whatever is going on, can I do this till I'm 80? If not, I'm going to somebody doctor. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to figure out how long can I really keep living on this machine?
Yeah.
The pandemic starts. I'm like, we thought everything when the pandemic started. We're like, listen, the world about to end. We're gonna have to go become refugees. Where I'm running with this machine, if I have to flee, where I'm going,
Yeah.
and I don't have none of these supplies. I don't have a truck to steal this.
Nope.
I don't have. I'm gonna have if I steal the machine, I got to kidnap a tech because I don't know how to run it.
No.
So what am I doing? I'm the only one that can't run. Like I got to just be here no matter how this thing turn out. And I'm like, how long can I really just live at the mercy of this machine?
Mm-hmm.
And keep going was what I came up with. Like I just gotta. I just and I'll figure out how and why after the fact. But now it's time to try to question how. Just go, just put your head down and go. And then when my grandbabies came, ironically, I feel like when I lost my mom, because she got to meet the bellies, she never got to meet the children, right? They were all 4 or 5 months, 5, 6 months when she passed. Actually, like 6, 7 months. And it's ironic that I felt like it was like an NBA trade. Like God needed a certain kind of player on his team, but he was willing to give me 3 players
Right.
for this one,
And that's how I always look at it.
That's
The
how
major player.
That's how I exactly. And since I'm taking one this relevant, I'm gonna try to. It's gonna take 3 whole lives to try to compensate this one.
Yep.
And that's what he did. So December, February came my first 2 granddaughters, and then the following year, September came my grandson, and those girls on my screensaver kind of changed everything as far as my focus and how I was going to do it. It didn't matter how. I knew why. And once I figured that part out, I had to keep going. And then that became my motto, to just keep going. And I realized it applied everywhere. No matter what your cross is, to keep going is an option.
That's true. Very true.
It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean it's not going to come without its setbacks. It's not going to come without its pain. But to keep going is your choice.
Without the kinks, you still got to keep going.
Kinks, no kinks, mountains, no mountains. It's either Steve Harvey said, if you're going through hell, why stop walking?
That's true. Because you're just gonna burn if you don't.
In hell, just keep going. So it makes sense to me, and that's been what I live by and what I share. So yeah, that birthed the song.
Wow. That's some really good stuff. My sister used to always say every day she used to say, I'm still amongst the living. That's what she would say every day. And then when they would take her to those treatments and stuff, it just gave me a different outlook on life. When I would see people, young men in there, young women in there, and it's like, wow, how this happened to somebody so young. But
this medication. I wasn't 3 when it started.
No, no,
I'm only 45. It wasn't this.
right.
But I was always the youngest one in the appointment. I was always
Yeah.
the youngest one in the center. I was
Wow.
always the youngest everywhere. And my doctor was like, you ain't got no business being here. Not for
Mhm.
this. No.
Wow.
But like you said, I'm amongst the living. She spoke the truest words. Like,
Yep.
when people ask me how I'm doing, it don't matter. As long as I'm here to hear you ask me, I think I'm winning.
Boy,
That's
you
true.
better come on. You
That
better
Yep.
is
come
true.
on
That
here.
is so true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When my father passed, um, people when they try to comfort you, sometimes the things that people say are not very comforting. But but one of my friends said to me, he probably just gave up. He was tired. I took offense to that, and I'm being honest. I just cursed her out because I said, evidently, you didn't know my dad. He was sick. Because my dad had been sick for a minute. He had heart trouble, diabetes, high blood pressure. He had gone through a lot in his life, in his short life. He left when he was 58. But he was a God fearing man, and he prayed I can remember when we was little kids, me and my brother, my dad prayed with us every day. He read the Bible to us every day, and he didn't never let a day end without him saying, asking God to prepare a place for him, for when it's all over. And he was sick. When I tell y'all, going into dialysis, looking like $1,000,000, but sick as a dog. But he never gave up. He never lost that faith. And I always ask God to let me know that radical faith like that. You know what I'm saying? And I think even though it eventually overcame him, he was still such a winner. You understand what I mean? Because he knew.
Yeah.
He knew the person who was giving him that fight. He
Mm-hmm.
knew the person who was preparing a place for him. He
Mm-hmm.
knew the person who was keeping him. Even though he was in pain, you know what I'm saying? He was still giving wisdom to, me, my children. I have 2 sons. He was still giving. And he was like, I'm in here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here, And
Mhm.
I always admired that about him.
Yeah.
I really commend you, and I'm really grateful to God that you are living your best life. you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
you
Um,
Yeah.
go with pain. You are more than a conqueror, and I'm
Yeah.
very happy for you, and I'm
And you
grateful.
don't look like what you've been through. That's for
No,
sure.
no,
thank you so
no.
much. I will tell you that I would sit here and be completely lying to you if I told you I knew how.
Yeah.
Um,
You.
how. That's why I give it to him, because it's sometimes when it comes to God, it's not for you to know how, right? It's
Yeah,
No,
for you to accept
exactly.
and carry it and go. So I stopped questioning. When I realized I couldn't come up with nothing, I
Exactly.
it ain't for
That's
me
one of
to
the moves. Yep. That's
yeah,
one of
if
the
I
ones we just go,
find out
okay,
the
that's
ain't
it.
gonna be as fly anymore anyway. So just But my part was to just show up, because he
hmm
could, you know, God couldn't do God's part had I not shown up to do my part. So
Yep.
I just had to believe that there was a part to do.
Yeah.
So I kept
Faith without
showing up.
works.
But I didn't know. So at times when people commend me for strength, and I didn't know, there's a lot. I don't know if the fear of failure or the fear of reliving my past as it pertains to my dad. I did set goals for myself. My dad was my marker.
Mhm.
My dad was diagnosed in 98. I mean in 1982. He died in 92. That's 10 years he contended. I was diagnosed in 2008. Things proverbially hit the fan in 2018. So that was my 10 year. My dad was 39 when he passed. I got my kidney at 43. So I made it past that. My dad didn't meet but one of his grandchildren. I got to meet all of mine thus far.
Wow.
You know,
It's a blessing.
my dad got his transplant and then it rejected, and he, you know, felt the disease. I got mine, and here I am at a 2-year marker. These are all the things that did drive me, because I felt like I was fighting for both of us. Like I was fighting for me, but I also was finishing a battle for him.
Yes.
And then what made it even more eerie once I came to terms with that, there were 2 of the techs and one tech, one nurse that was tending to me that knew my father.
Oh, wow.
They'd been in, they had been with the in the field over 30 years, and they worked at the center I used to pick my dad up from. So Lynn literally remembered me coming in to ask for him once I showed her the picture. You know what I mean? And that comforted me in the idea that I was finishing a fight for him, because my dad he gave up. He got tired. And he said it, like, I'm tired. You know, my dad had a different go at this than I had. The medication, different. The machine, different. The apparatus that kept him alive, his access was different. Back then, they had a plant that they had to put in, which was a stent, where they had a here, but they had a port that they put in with a motor in it. And that was like a bus station for the connection. With us, they put in a fistula or a graft, and the fistula, they take your main artery and your main vein and your artery, and they fuse them to create like a superhighway, which is resilient enough to deal with the pressure of the machine. So it was a little bit more organic, and there was no intrusion with any foreign materials or any eligibility for a complication of a foreign material or from a foreign material. It was all organic, our version. You know what I mean? The machines were different. The treatments were different. There was more flexibility because the treatments were more efficient. I still toured the whole time, even though I had to be on that machine every day. Yeah, I would come back and give the techs like keychains I would buy in the airport from like Chile or Madrid or wherever I had to go to do the show. And what I would do, I would double down on my treatment somewhere. So instead of me doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I would do Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So that way I could fly out Thursday night. Then I had Thursday night to travel, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and be back for dialysis Monday to start my Monday, Wednesday, Friday again. So I would double up to make sure I still got my 3 treatments for the week, but create room in the schedule for me to try to at least have 3 to 4 days to still work.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you serious about your job then?
Well,
because I know it can knock you down when you going through it. So that's why I was saying
prior, for performance. So I was the one trying to be sued, and then I would have some rough goes at it on the road. Like once I almost fainted in a cab in France.
Yep.
I would have to, after shows, there were no after parties for me. There were none of that. I would go straight back to my room and go to sleep. You know what I mean? A couple times I had to go to the hospital and dialyze while I was gone, just to make sure that I was okay on the 5-hour flight back or what have you. So yeah, it wasn't the easiest thing, but I had a team that I couldn't let down. I have a brand that has to exist once I get through this, because I couldn't believe I wasn't going to. And I had people to feed,
Wow. That's some serious stuff there.
But the doctor, oh wait, come on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Laura.
Oh, it was saying something about you sit on the seat of hip hop board. What do they mean about that?
Healing through hip hop. So the here in New York, I'm not sure where you all are, but
I'm Chicago,
South Carolina,
Atlanta.
And all right. Shout out to A. I did some schooling down there. And where are you in South
Carolina? Charleston, Somerville, different areas.
Really? So I used to live in North Charleston on Ashley Falls, Fade Off 26.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, we used to. Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Down 52, I was in St. Stephen's, where I first moved down there. Then I moved to Monk's Corner. Then I went to Goose Creek. Then I moved to Somerville for 10 minutes, and I was in Cross and then King Street. So I was
Wow,
down there
you've been all over South Carolina then.
10 minutes.
before I
Not
came
it,
back.
but he ain't
Yeah.
been
You
in
was in
Chicago.
Somerville 10 minutes. Why was
Chicago? I only did Chicago twice. So my niece is in Chicago. I went down there for her wedding. So I did drive to Chicago for that. And then there was a clothing convention, one of the magic show. There was a clothing trade show that I went to in Chicago. But those are the only 2 times I got to really go.
Did you have any family in South Carolina?
Yes, that's where North Carolina, South Carolina is where most of my family is rooted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What part of South Carolina?
Well, this I mean. They're in St. Stephen's. Right now they're in St. Stephen's. Some have moved to Somerville, some are still in Cross, and some are in King Street. I was the only one that had kind of migrated to North Charleston.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as far as the healing through hip hop, my day job, I work for a company called Baltic Street. I'm a certified peer advocate, and I work in the mental health space and deal with people that have lived experience in the space or mental health concerns or mental health journeys in their background that live either in the adult home system or level 2 or level 1 housing, supportive housing system, that are, either look for services or looking to reclaim their independence. That's what we do. So an offshoot, we work directly for the Department of Health here in New York and the Office of Mental Health and Hygiene here in New York, OMH. Through OMH, there is a company, there is an offshoot sub group called Healing Through Hip Hop, which my boss, knowing my background, one of my bosses, the old COO, she had stepped down from her board seat representing our company on the board of the New York State Peer Advocacy Committee. So she offered me her seat. So I ended up sitting on that board. And then one of the head of the board was one of the board members and founders of Healing Through Hip Hop. And when they found out my background as an active artist and also a quote unquote veteran artist, they offered me a spot with Healing Through Hip Hop. And I've been talking and presenting with them ever since. Ironically, today they have a new Universal Hip Hop Museum that just opened, and we had a meeting with them. So I actually have to speak on a panel on the 1st with the Universal Hip Hop Museum and the mayor of New York to speak on behalf of the mental health industry and how it intersects with the trauma that is based in hip hop and almost riddles every lyric you've ever heard written.
Wow.
Wow, that's deep. So have you did you go to school for mental health to study the mental health or no? It's just something
No, I have 3 diagnoses, and living with 3 diagnoses, you kind of master your space. And that was one of the actual criteria of my job. They only hire individuals with lived experience. So you can have all the letters behind your name you want, but if you haven't experienced it firsthand, then you don't have an empathetic standpoint and they can't work with you. We have a model called person-centered, and you can't possibly operate person-centered with someone that you can't relate to.
That's true.
The clinicians, the therapists, the medical, the assessors, housing, everyone works with them based on a book, based on, well, according to my studies, if you have this or have had this, then you should this. If you have done this, you've done this, then you should have that. I'm here to say that no, I'm not that manic depressive. That doesn't describe me. Or I'm not that acute, that person. Go ahead, baby. I'm not that person with acute anxiety. I'm not that person, with mild cases of bipolar. That doesn't describe me. But I can tell you what my journey looks like. And I found people that I work with that are more unique like me than fit the cookie cutter mold of what the book says you should be. And then what happens, stigma becomes a thing because then people feel like, I am on an interview, baby. What are you doing? Hello, I am on an interview. How are you? It's my granddaughter Lillian. Say hello.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, now go Go back with Liam. I love you. Yeah. So,
She wanted to see what Papa was doing.
yeah, go ahead, baby. Close the door for me. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, she all for that. She wants to know who it is I'm sharing time with.
Yeah.
And she does that during work too. We be on work Zooms and she'll just pop up in the screen like you try to buy her. But the that lived experience component changes everything because people tend to open up quicker to someone that's not labeling them. You know,
Right.
I am not depression. I am not anxiety. And my mother did not name me manic. That's what I deal with. That's not who I am. You understand what I mean? If I didn't tell you I had 3 diagnoses, I promise you would have walked out of here and never believed in such a thing.
Yeah.
But that's because in my journey, I acquired a toolbox and taught myself, and my support team taught me how to manage the version of me that I am. And once we worked out a roadmap to describe which me I wanted to be, they helped me figure out what that road looked like. And now I live based on that roadmap. And I teach people to do the same thing.
Wow. That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
I think most of the time people only way somebody can understand and relate is if they've been in your shoes. And when they've been in your shoes, when you're talking to them, they know if you're telling them if you've been there, they know. It's just like they can just feel it. They can tell if you're telling them the truth because they can relate. It's just I think it's just a what they call it, kindred spirit that oh yeah, you've been in my shoes. You understand.
But if you want to take it to a street level, because again, like I said, my journey has taken me through a couple of them back blocks. I can always tell when a street dude is lying to me about his level of street dudeness. Street dudism. I can tell when you are completely lying. One, you think you could put one over me because I do not carry myself as such at this point. I've become far too articulate. I've written too many chapters in life that I could talk to you for hours and never tell you about that part of the story. You know what I mean? The 3 years I did in prison, you don't never have to know about that if I don't choose to tell you. And my story will be equally interesting, and there'll be no gaps in the timeline because I worked hard to try to reclaim those years I lost.
Right.
However, there's certain nuances that the movie won't show you, so you can't imitate it. There's certain nuances you cannot mimic unless you've been there. If you want to get to a spiritual or biblical place, there's certain connections with the Most High you're going to have that if you not had that, you cannot tell me about it. All you can do is tell me about what you've seen or what you heard. But I know when you've had that relationship. I've known when you've been touched, and I know when that word has moved through you in a certain way. And then I also know when them sentences haven't connected. Yeah, those are the scriptures your grandmother told you. I got it. I respect you. But I know when you have testimony. I know when you've been touched, and I know when you've walked through some things and you've witnessed him work versus what you heard it was like. And these are the differences when it comes to this mental health place. These individuals are hypersensitive. Myself, hypersensitive, and I'm hyper defensive because I'm used to people dropping the ball, used to people not taking me seriously, and I'm used to people being threatened by my situation. So I know when you're handling me. I know when you're using me to get numbers. I know when you're trying to satiate your contract, saying that you showed up. And I know when you're genuinely trying to help me. And these individuals that you might decide are slow or on a different level, or you got one over on, these are the quietest people that spend most time calculating and watching because they don't trust. So being genuine is the only weapon you have. And if you can't get that close to be that genuine, your job is useless because they're never going to share.
Right.
True. That's true. That's real talk.
Definitely. Because that's when the real therapy starts happening, when they get to the point where they can relate to what you genuinely went through. That's when the real therapy starts to happen. They can have a psychiatrist, counselor in front of them all day, but that real therapy starts when they get in this space with a person who has really experienced and seen some of the demons that they've gone through.
No one, never asking anyone to disclose past. I disclose everything. I care less. But you know, I never ask anyone or put anybody into that position to disclose anything. But I will say this. If you've ever experienced therapy on any level, you'll find out the therapist knows nothing and they teach you nothing.
Mhm.
However, they do is create this mirror for you to speak out loud to yourself and come to terms with what you weren't processing on your own in your head. So once you start speaking it out loud, they're going to ask you what are called open-ended questions that we always make fun of, like, so how does that make you feel? That's really the most cliche therapy question. However, all they're doing is forcing you not to cut yourself off at one version of the answer.
Right.
And the more you start unpacking and unpeeling the one answer, the more you start realizing I already had the answer.
That's right.
You already, no one walks into therapy with new information when they leave. They leave with a new vantage point on the old information they came in on.
Yeah.
Right.
The therapist does nothing. They're just patient.
Yeah.
They're
So-
unjust.
Listening.
Mhm.
What were you saying?
So Mike Handz, tell people where they could find you at.
I'm pretty much around. I'm really accessible on Google. Mike Handz, MICHANDZ. I'm pretty much everywhere. On Instagram, Mike Handz, MICHANDZ. On Facebook, it's Mike Handz Fan Club. If you want to go to my website, it's mikehandz.nyc. Sorry for the ums, they bother me. Twitter, I'm never on there. It's the real Mike Handz, but don't even bother because nobody talks to me on there. And that's pretty much it. Like, those are the best ways. But on Instagram, literally, you can go to the link tree, my phone number to my office. Everything is there. Like, I make myself accessible for that very reason.
That's good.
So do you have a TikTok account?
I do. I have one post, maybe two. I have no clue what it's doing. I just do know that, like, I'm not doing any challenges. I'm not going to be doing no filters. I'm not doing any of that. But MJ, my publicist, was like, listen, I'm going to need you to do it because apparently people are aware of you on TikTok. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're right. That's my kid. Anything my kids participate in too much, I try to stay away from. I'm like, yeah, that's their bag. Let me stay out of that.
TikTok is good though. TikTok
Yeah,
is
it
good
is.
for
I keep
advertising.
hearing it. I keep hearing it. I just haven't figured out where I fit. I think that's more where it is.
So what
Once
you
I
can
figure it out,
actually go on there and do is you can actually go on there and like maybe make a little video up of talking about what you've been through, your experience or something, or either some of your music or something. I've seen people actually on there that actually became TikTok famous because their music. They're doing their music on TikTok. So
I'm just trying to understand the separation from if that's part of what we do on Instagram or we do on Twitter.
no, it's a little bit more
That's what I'm
different.
trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's a little more different on TikTok. Yeah, you get the followers. The followers people just start following you honestly because I
Okay.
think I got on there and I started doing some videos on there. You know, nothing crazy or nothing. I don't think
I do crazy.
She do the crazy stuff.
Oh, y'all do
I've
crazy.
never tried TikTok. I've heard about it, but never tried it.
Yeah, that's why I
I want
was
to
trying
do a
to tell
comedy
you.
skit.
Yeah, that's why I was telling you. You need to go on there and do your comedy skits if that's what you want to do. But yeah, it's really a really good
It is.
platform. It's a
Free
very good
advertising.
platform.
It's a whole
Yeah.
lot of free advertising.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's some people be playing their guitars on there all day and stuff, and playing bingo games on there. They even do scratch offs, and
For
they have-
real. For real.
people donate to you. People give money to you on those on TikTok.
Yeah, they
Weird.
give you gifts. Mm-hmm.
Gifts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like how we're talking right now, right? They have like certain gifts that are worth, some are worth like $1, a penny, $5, $20, $100. I went because you can go live
Yeah.
after you get like a certain amount of followers. I think it's like
You have to have
1,000.
1,000. Yeah. You have
And
to
they
have
send you gifts. And I went on there live once and I got like $75 in one cent.
yeah.
Seriously.
Really?
I mean, it's free
Yeah.
So
advertising.
you can make money on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 posts. That's it.
Oh, you want?
I'm
Let
gonna follow you.
me too. I'm gonna go follow you
It's just
too.
my name. It's just my name, Mike Handz.
Oh,
I'm nothing.
Yeah, so make sure you follow us back now. When you see us
Right.
following you, make sure you follow us back.
Right.
Wait,
That's right.
now, however, I do realize that I'm just now looking back at this. Apparently, this second post has like 900 likes or something.
Yeah, and that's
See?
good. And it
Why
may
do
have made the
you
YouTube
lie?
at what is it, For You page. If it makes the For You page, that's really good. That's
See, TikTok is, like
People make
Facebook
very
and
good money off of
Instagram
TikTok.
is like, it's kind of hard, not hard, but it's more difficult to get followers. TikTok,
What?
if someone relates to you, that's what I'm saying. If you go in there and talk about your journey, there is a group of people who will listen and check you out and
Mhm.
support you, and you know
Start
what I mean,
following.
in your journey.
Okay.
And the thing what I love about TikTok is that it's so much, they have all this music you can use. You don't have to put anything about copyright issues, or you know what I mean.
Okay.
They got all this free music you can use. You can put all your content in, anything you want, seriously. And I think now you can do it up to like 10 minutes. It used to be like up to like 3 minutes, but yeah, you should check it out, really.
yeah. I just followed you, so make sure you follow me
I'm
back.
looking. I'm looking because I'm like, I don't know
Create
what
me
this
a TikTok.
Hold on, let me
Yeah,
see.
you should.
Okay,
You
I
should
got.
make one. I'll teach you how to do it.
I have one. I see you.
Okay, you see it?
Yeah, I gotta wait till I get off the phone before I do mine.
I see it.
I'm
I
gonna
just
follow you.
I waved at you.
You waved at me.
I
Okay.
just say hi. I believe that's what I did.
Yeah, but it's a good, really good platform. So you might want to start, engaging on there and doing lives. Once you get to 1,000 followers, then you could do lives. You could start doing lives. You could say, "Hey guys, it's me. What's up, guys?" And you'll be surprised how much you get from just going live. And like
I
she
have.
said, she did $75. Yeah, I don't even remember how much I had on one of the. I did my I have like another alter ego. Her name is Grandma Lala. So I did her, and when I did her, people was just going crazy on there. I'm like, dang, gone. And that was my very first live. I had never done it, but somebody was telling me, yeah, you should do it. You should do it. And I
Yeah.
did it.
I have a road to 1,000 followers. I'm literally at 28, so I have a road ahead of me.
Start
Oh,
posting. Start posting. Watch and see how
yeah,
quick it happens.
yeah, it's gonna
Okay.
happen fast. People gonna start following you and stuff, and then you can also go in there and do house cleaning too every once in a while through your with your followers and stuff. And when I mean house cleaners is you go through there to see if these people are following you back. If they're not following you
Right.
back, you unfollow them.
That's
Right.
what I do on Instagram now because I've reached my threshold of followers of people I
Hmm.
can follow. So I
Hmm.
go in and the ones I don't engage, I get rid of so I can follow more people that are more engaging.
Oh, you
Hmm.
sound like Ralph. He sound like Ralph. Like Ralph. Like I can't take no more friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, that's why I'm on Facebook. At Facebook, I'm at 5,000, so I can't accept anymore. So I then have to go clean out people when times
yeah.
come. In Instagram, I can't follow anyone else. So it's not like you can friend me, but I can't follow you back unless I
Right.
top down the people I'm following.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was really, really good talking to you today on the show. We
Yeah.
truly appreciate your
Yeah, very
conversation
inspirational.
and very inspirational. Right?
Very nice to meet you as well.
I
Yes,
appreciate
exactly.
you. Thank you to all of you guys. It was great energy. I didn't know what to expect. When I looked at the title of the show, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm all for it. Let's figure it out. But if MJ thinks I need to be here, I'm coming. But this
Yeah.
was definitely an awesome change of pace, and I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. We enjoy having people that have inspiring stories, and
Mhm.
because we always know that somebody is out there listening to the show, that you may have said tonight that may have inspired somebody. It's like, we always get the messages on our YouTube channel showing that people will say, thank you for that information because that information helped me out, or I'll get a letter in through email or inbox message where somebody is thanking us for our information. So
That's the journey. You hope to connect. I think that's what we exist for, right? Like as people, we're just here hoping that we can actually just connect.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on the show.
Great
All right.
meeting. And I guess
Take
I'll see you
care.
on TikTok.
Huh? Yeah,
It's like
and we'll see.
you guys on TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially this crazy one here.
I'm looking for it. I'll talk.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you
Wow.
guys for tuning in to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. We had our guest was Mike Handz, and very good conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very
Very good.
powerful. Yeah, powerful information.
So humble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
Very humble.
Yeah, yeah, not arrogant, nothing like that, and that was a really good conversation. It was really very, and seeing how when he was talking about the dialysis and stuff, it really touched my soul. Listening to the struggles and the different things that he went through as far as going through those dialysis treatments because it's not easy.
His journey.
So
Yeah.
I gotta go and check out his music. He got some music out, and so I want to make sure that I check it out. So that's that's basically it. We have to support each other. The song is called "Keep Going," and that's the title of his song. It's called "Keep
Okay.
Going." Yeah, so we have to
Keep
check it out
going.
because it says it's about his journey.
Yeah.
hmm
Definitely got to listen to it. See what's going on.
hmm But thank you guys for tuning in to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. We truly appreciate you guys. We take nothing for granted. Um, and we had a great time tonight with you ladies. Uh-oh.
Yeah, somebody didn't go and then she just, I don't know.
Uh-huh. All right,
It's the
guys.
hat.
Yeah. So what is today? Today is Thursday. So we'll see you guys back on Tuesday. I have something that I'm gonna run by you guys about for Tuesday's show. What the conversation is gonna be about on Tuesday. So make sure you guys tune in next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And make sure you go to YouTube and follow us and subscribe to our channel, Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. And we love you guys. Have a good night.
Love
Enjoy
you.
your weekend. And what else?
Happy Memorial Day.
Oh yeah, happy Memorial Day to everyone. All right. Later.
Peace.
Okay.